Hey folks, this is Z-Man with Kadesh Farm. I wanted to shoot a video on a paddock that I have set up, or actually this can be broken up into at least three paddocks for my cow that I have out here at our property. I am using Powerpost, which is this device here, which you can get from Powerflex. This has been a saving grace for me because if you want to set up a quick paddock and quick and temporary paddock, I feel that this device right here is going to be very beneficial. It is so beneficial when it comes to posting your reel on it and also using it as a corner post, and I'll show you here in a second. Basically, Powerpost is a tool that could be used to drive the post legs down into the ground. And now that I have this set up, well, you know what? I'll just take it. Let's see if I can take it loose with one hand. Let's try this out. Loosen it up a little bit. Basically, I pull this pin out of here. I'll at least try. Hopefully I can make this work with one hand. Yes. Basically, Powerpost work by using the actual post itself as a power driver. It slides up and down for you to be able to drive into the hard soil. We've had a decent amount of, well, not decent amount, a lack of rain, which has caused the ground to be extremely harder. I mean, it's about as hard as woodpecker lips right now. And we've had a little bit of rain, and it's a whole lot better than what it was a couple of weeks ago. But the Powerpost has been my saving grace for me to quickly set up a decent sized paddock for her and be able to rotate her within this big area that I have. And the Powerpost has been a saving grace because I can quickly drive it into the ground with itself, as opposed to using a hammer or anything like that. The Powerpost itself is a hammer itself. And I have 4 set up on this paddock, and I will be putting these, I forgot the name, O'Brien fence posts up. Those are the best along the way to keep my wire good and tight. And the main thing with is to make it visible. And I did a modification to the Powerpost. I know how they say if you do any modification, it void your warranty. But for the purpose of what I need it for, I wanted the wire and the reel to set up a little bit higher. So I took a drill bit, because they do have a hole right here for, I'm assuming, to keep it together for transport purposes. But I noticed if I wanted to set up and hook up the incoming reel coming from that direction, it's way down here as opposed to being up here if I start out up here. So I made a modification by drilling a hole and raising this up, and now it's all the same height. And let's see if I can put this back together using one hand. Y'all just bear with me here. I had to use my leg to get it in there. Yep, I did it. Yeah. So I had to drill it all the way through. I'll take my knife and tap it to get it all the way through. It's kind of hard to do it with one hand, but you get the point. And I can set my reel back up here. Put my locking mechanism in, reel my reel in, get it good and tight. Use it, since I'm just using one hand, you get the concept. I may be able to just run y'all all the way through this entire setup, other than I've already did majority of the work on this paddock to get it set up. But I'll get this good and tight. But because of this line right here being nice and tight, I may or may not put a post right there. And basically what I'll do, just because my cow is trained to one wire, I don't have to worry about her trying to get through that little gap. And see, I got all kinds of stuff growing here. Sorry, a little side note. This is where we had a water line dug, and I went and put a bunch of sunflower sorghum, corn, anything that I could find in the mix. And it's actually doing pretty good with a little bit of rain that we have. We got some collards or turnips or something growing right there. Got sunflowers all growing in this. I want to show that off. But let's get over here, get on the four-wheeler, put my old hat on so I don't get sunburned, top of my head. Sorry about the noise here. I'll cut it off as soon as I get down there. I'll ride down to this post, show you how I have it set up. I don't have to worry about this post getting pulled out of the ground. Because of the way it's shaped, it has 3 prongs in it. And this is the front part where all the weight, because I got majority of my line headed in that direction. But it's good and stable. And what I'll do, I'll get me a post, and where the line is touching the ground, I will go along and put a post down. I use 2 or 3 different, well, actually 2 colors of posts. I like the blue, but they were completely out. I'll walk down through here. Usually I'll do this from a 4-wheeler, but since I have my phone in my hand, it's a little difficult. I'll take a post. See here. Put it in. I got to figure out where my line is, exactly how straight. If you notice, it's kind of curving, but I'll straighten that out once I start putting my post in. Get my post pressed into the ground, just enough to get it up off the ground and get it out of the weeds. I may take a trip on my 4-wheeler once I get it all set up and just drive over to press a lot of those weeds into the ground. I'll get another couple of posts ready. You notice I got my posts strapped with the bungee cord just because there's a headache when they start falling. Working on getting me a UTV, because once I get back on this 4-wheeler, this seat is extremely hot with the type of pants that I have on. It's pants that are for evaporating sweat a lot easier. So that means they're pretty thin. As I drive down through here, I'll try and straighten this wire, poly braid. Get in this section here. I tried to drive it to create a alley for it. I'll pull it, try and get it as straight as possible. Because the straighter you keep your line, the better off you are when it comes to keeping it pretty good and tight. It is difficult to do this with one hand. All right, we got this in. Try and keep it in line with that post down there as much as possible. Get it put into the ground. You see it naturally wants to pull backwards, so I'll readjust. Lean it forward. It is actually pretty hard to see what I'm showing you on video. So I'll drop down, do another post. I'm kind of seeing my line now, because I do have another power post at that end. I'll show it to you. I'll get a little bit close to where my line is going to be, and just drive to try and minimize any contact with any grasses. I'll get to about here. Put down another post. I'll usually put a post where it's touching the ground. You can see where the natural sag is, so I'll go to the other side of this drainage ditch. Get my post up. And I'll need to go back to that next post where my 4-wheeler is actually in the way. Set this one up. Hopefully it'll sit straight. Yep, the post is sitting up pretty good, and my line is looking good and tight and straight. I'll go down and straighten that post out down there, to get my line up off the ground. I'll drive down and you can see where the other line is that I have going across there. It looked pretty good and tight, but I just need to see if I could pull it to, there it is. Here we go. That's good, straight there. Now you see how I'm kind of got my four-wheel in the way actually. I may need to take and move the wire this way, but we'll get it all set up there and make adjustments from there. I'll drive down to the next area where I'll probably need to put a post. And what I do like about this, it is so easy to take down. All I would have to do is just to remove 4 of my power posts and the 10 or 15 or so, maybe less than that, 10 or 15 of my temporary posts. She is gonna lose her mind in this good grass over here. I've had her cooped up in the area because we had a little bit of a drought. Thank God it started back to raining. All right, get this post in. That looks pretty good and tight. And at this point, I may go and tighten it just a little bit, but it's tight enough to, let me move this out the way, make sure we got good contact. Yes, it's tight enough for her to be able to see it. And that's the main thing. I want it as tall as possible, because once she run this pin or this pad out and see her boundaries, that'll be the first thing she'll do when you put her in. She'll get in here and run and try and figure out where her boundaries are. Usually I'll bring her, walk her on a halter for her to see her boundaries, so I don't have to worry about her running and accidentally running through the fence, the wire. I never had an issue with that, but she's come very close and it's terrified me. Which, if she do get out, I wouldn't have an issue because she is snack driven. I don't have to worry about her running away from us. As you can see, how the power posts have these where you can run a corner wire to it and there's no sag in it at all. And you see how good and tight this part of it is. I just need one pole. And that right there is roughly maybe 50 to 75 yards in distance, way down there to that next post. And that's the first post that I started with. So when it comes time to me moving her into this pad out, all I have to do is, I should have measured it. It's got to be 150, 175, 200 yards deep and roughly 75 yards wide. And all I have is 2 reels. Because of the power post, I'm able to run my corners. I don't have to end up setting up 3 or 4 reels to get this done. This is the first reel that I have going to an existing fence that I already have way down there. I don't know if I'll be able to zoom in. No, I can't zoom. And the first reel that I started out with, that is my cross to cut across this wire here. And I just basically took that one reel and ran it around my 3 posts, and I made it back to my first post that I have set up for this. And that's what I love about the power post. I did the same thing with this one. I drilled it so I can get my wire a little bit high, because I want it visible for her to be able to see the wire. And power posts, they've saved me so much time. I couldn't tell you what the price is right now, but usually when I purchase my power posts, I always would buy 2 at a time. And I love these things. I use them at our other farm for our sheep. And I have, of course, my other sheep up here close to where the cow is. Looks like it's about to rain, thank God. And it's worked wonders for us to be able to quickly, temporarily set up something and not have to worry about taking my O'Brien post and trying to make a corner post. All I have to do is drive my power post into the ground. I've never ever had an issue, regardless how wet it is or how dry it is, getting a power post in the ground, and also haven't had an issue of it staying in the ground and pulling my wire or making my wire sag. Once I get my wire good and tight, this bad boy is up for the task, and it is a lifesaver. These are where you can run a wire through it. You don't have to worry about them shorting out. That's the purpose of them being able to, this purpose of you being able to run a wire through, because it is non-conductive. And I like the fact that my end clips for my reel fit right onto here. This was a very well thought out deal. The only thing I don't like about the power post is I wish they would have had a pre-drilled hole at the top so you can have that top wire. If you want to run your reel high and then you want to come back around to your post, you want them to be at the same level. And basically I just pre-drill a hole and use the existing pin that they had come with the post, and it's worked out fine for me. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe and like, share. But the power post from Powerflex, I give them a thumbs up. This is Z-Man, and I'm out.